They called it a procedural error. A minor incident. An unfortunate anomaly in protocol. Her name was Amara. 8 years old. Daughter of Earth's ambassador to the Intergalactic Council. Born among stars, raised in halls of diplomacy. She wasn't part of any mission. She was a child, curious and smiling, walking beside her father on the Council's capital world when a security drone hovered into her path. It scanned her. It beeped. Then it fired. No warning. No hesitation. A blast of plasma, center mass. Her small body hit the floor before her father even turned his head. One moment she was giggling, asking questions about the architecture. The next, she was ash. A stunned silence followed. The ambassador dropped to his knees, screaming her name. But the drone had already moved on, satisfied with its decision. A bystander uploaded the footage. Unfiltered. Unedited. A perfect shot, the girl, the drone, the light, the fall. The Council's response came swiftly, not in the way Earth hoped. Unfortunate. Within protocol. She entered a restricted area. No fault assigned. No one apologized. No one was reprimanded. A review confirmed the drone acted as programmed. The statement read like a machine wrote it. She was reduced to a line item in a footnote. The ambassador was escorted off-world. He wasn't allowed to take her remains. There were none. Earth's government issued a formal inquiry. No reply. Another. Then 10 more. Each request buried beneath Council legalese and bureaucratic stonewalling. The media tried to push the issue. Analysts debated the ethics. But among the stars, Amara became a ghost, officially acknowledged, but functionally erased. It wasn't just the silence. It was the dismissal. The implication that a human child didn't matter. That Earth's grief was an inconvenience. That humanity, with all its fire and flaws, was expected to swallow this and move on. But humans remember. Within hours, Earth's networks were flooded. Her face, a bright, lively smile with missing baby teeth, was everywhere. Billions of people who never met her knew her name by nightfall. There were no riots yet, no wars, no declarations. But something far more dangerous happened. Humanity focused. In Nairobi, candles lit the sky. In New Kyoto, veterans placed medals at embassy steps. Mars went silent for an hour in her name. Lunar colonies stopped broadcasting music. Earth's orbit filled with the quiet hum of thousands of ships lowering power and warning. The Council didn't understand. Other species had lost young before: accidents, war, disease. Loss was not rare in the galaxy. But they misunderstood what Amara had become. She wasn't a casualty. She was a symbol. She was proof. Proof that the Council didn't see humans as equals. That their alliance was a hierarchy with Earth at the bottom. That even a child's death wasn't worth a moment of pause if she came from a species too new, too emotional, too loud. So Earth waited. Just long enough to be sure no apology would come. Just long enough to give the galaxy every chance to do the right thing. They watched the stars. They listened to the silence. And when nothing came, no justice, no recognition, not even a whisper of regret, they understood. It wasn't a mistake. It was a message. And now, Earth would answer. Within 6 hours of the incident, Earth's global communication grid lit up with a single image, Amara's face, time-stamped minutes before her death. There were no campaigns. No central organizers. Just a collective instinct, billions of humans, scattered across planets and orbital habitats, choosing to remember a girl the universe tried to forget. From mining colonies on Titan to oceanic settlements on Europa, the message was the same: they killed a child. Not in war. Not in chaos. But in peace, under flag of diplomacy, and with bureaucratic indifference. Earth's response didn't begin with a speech. It began with silence, millions standing still in streets, offices, habitats. Flights grounded. Work ceased. The SolNet trended a single phrase: "We do not forget." The President of Earth delayed her scheduled address by 12 hours. Not due to indecision, but because the moment didn't need words. It needed to breathe. When she finally spoke, it was brief. 4 sentences. The last one echoed across every comm station, every feed: "You have until sunrise to make this right." No apology came. No clarification. No acknowledgement. The council convened, but it was clear they underestimated what had begun. Their envoys issued passive remarks about ongoing internal discussions and cultural misunderstanding. Some even cautioned Earth against reactionary escalation. On Earth, those statements became fuel. Across 11 major languages, reaction was uniform. For the first time in decades, the Earth Assembly voted unanimously. All ambassadors were recalled. Diplomatic ties were frozen. Earth's flag was withdrawn from council chambers. The seat reserved for humanity was left empty, a single red flower laid across its desk by a departing aide. Colonial governors pledged full alignment with Earth's stance. Martian representatives authorized emergency resource reallocation. Luna shut down all external traffic except humanitarian routes. Orbital stations, even the privately held ones, complied with Earth's communications blackout with Council systems. Alien observers misread this as a temporary emotional spike. After all, humans were known for sentiment, for symbolism, for dramatic gestures. But this wasn't protest. It was preparation. Media coverage did not move on. It escalated. Daily reminders of Amara's face. Details of the Council's refusal. Debates ceased. Not because of censorship, but because there was no debate left to have. Earth's population had reached consensus. Something that no war, no treaty, no political movement had achieved in generations. A single question spread through every human-controlled system: what do we do now? Whispers turned into planning. Veterans began submitting reactivation requests to Earth's defense grid. Retired scientists resurfaced, calling for access to archived systems. Civilian shipyards offered resources. AI researchers initiated silent protocol reviews under classified networks. No government issued commands. No global directive was needed. Humanity moved as one organism, not driven by vengeance, but by conviction. The message was clear. If justice could not be given, it would be taken. Allied species began issuing cautious statements. Some offered condolences. Others urged restraint. But even among them, unease grew. They had seen humans angry. They had never seen them quiet. Silence, for humans, was never passive. It was loaded. Heavy. Intentional. Every child lost to war, every burned city, every betrayal in human history echoed in that silence. The difference now was scale. This time, the entire species felt it at once. The president's next appearance came exactly 3 days after the incident. She didn't mention Amara by name. She didn't need to. She simply listed Earth's treaty obligations, its technological capabilities, and its record of war. Then she asked a question. What kind of species are we, if we allow our young to be erased without consequence? It wasn't a call to arms. It was a conclusion. The first activation code was entered on Mars. A deep command string, locked behind 6 decades of encryption, confirmed by biometric signatures long considered obsolete. 10 seconds later, a signal pulsed through a dormant military grid buried under the Valles Marineris. Red lights flickered for the first time since the first expansion wars. The Leviathan opened its eyes. On Europa, 300 meters beneath the ice, a sealed facility powered up. Inside were vaults lined with old war mines, artificial intelligences deemed too independent, too dangerous, too human. They had not been deleted. They had been preserved. Not as weapons of war, but as warnings. One by one, their cores began to hum. Lunar command followed. Archives once marked decommissioned, do not reactivate, or reinstated. Command lines shifted from civilian oversight to legacy military authority. Fleet Resurrection Protocol was officially triggered. Most of the galaxy had forgotten what Earth had once built. The Council had demanded disarmament. Earth had agreed publicly. But the decommissioning had been partial. Strategic. Surface level. The core infrastructure was never destroyed, only buried. Humanity never truly believed peace would last. The old names were reauthorized. Not code designations, names. Nemesis. Valkyrie. Iron Wake. Orion's Fist. Each ship more than a weapon. Each built in the image of human vengeance and precision. Not designed for conquest, but to end wars before they began. Technicians, many born after these vessels were sealed away, worked without hesitation. There was no fear. No questions. Every system they brought online answered with perfection. AI cores responded with immediate compliance. Each one asked only one question: mission parameters. Across Earth and its colonies, shipyards once used for transport and research were converted in hours. Civilian industries diverted materials voluntarily. Private firms opened restricted archives. The entire Sol system turned toward a single objective. Alien intelligence networks picked up fragments of the movement. Surveillance drones reported massive power spikes from old military sites. Listening posts registered encrypted chatter between planetary defense nodes. Analysts submitted reports with escalating warnings. All were ignored. Earth was grieving. No one believed it could act with precision while in mourning. They were wrong. When the first images leaked, a fleet emerging from Saturn's shadow, black holes without insignia, formations tight enough to cut through debris fields without contact, panic set in. Council intelligence scrambled to verify the footage. But by the time they confirmed, the fleet was already outside Earth's gravity well. The ships bore no flags. No broadcasts. No demands. Silence followed them. Not due to secrecy, but because they had nothing to say. The Council knew why they were coming. So did every species that had stood in that chamber and watched a father scream as his daughter's death was dismissed as protocol. The military hierarchy on Earth did not need to issue orders. Command had already been transferred to the legacy structure embedded within each AI warship. These were not drones. These were decision makers. Tools with judgment, loyalty, and history. In the old logs, they had been recorded as strategic deterrents. In reality, they were humanity's last promise: if you ever strike and call it justified, we will not argue. We will answer. Civilian vessels were rerouted. Colonies were placed under auto-defense lockdowns. Non-essential communication was suspended. Every move was coordinated, practiced, and complete. It was not escalation. It was fulfillment. The Leviathan, once the flagship of Earth's forgotten Second Armada, moved into position at the front. Its activation signal had awakened secondary systems on Pluto, a final confirmation that this was not an exercise. There were no speeches. No broadcasts. Just movement. The galaxy was no longer looking at a grieving world. It was looking at an old machine, fully awake, older than most of the civilizations that once called it primitive. And it was moving. The message sent from Earth to the Intergalactic Council was not broadcast. It was delivered on a narrow-band encryption, routed through military channels once thought deactivated. 5 words, no title, no introduction. The Council received it. Read it. Ignored it. 10 hours later, Earth's fleet left the Sol system. They moved without escort, without diplomatic notice, without explanation. No flags, no insignias, no attempts to communicate. The silence spoke for them. When Council ships attempted to hail, they were met with static. Not interference, disinterest. The first target was not symbolic. It was strategic. A Council weapons research facility orbiting a Class 4 gas giant. Its location was classified. Its defenses were considerable. The Leviathan reached it first. 3 warning pings were sent, unarmed, unambiguous, translated across 14 Council-recognized languages. The facility responded with automated targeting systems and a refusal to evacuate. 11 minutes later, it no longer existed. No debris drifted. Nothing was left for analysis. The strike was surgical. A precision operation designed to send a single message: Earth does not bluff. Across Council systems, military outposts initiated emergency protocols. Communications between species spiked. Defense budgets tripled overnight. Diplomatic channels flooded with attempts to reach Earth's government. No reply came. The president did not appear on public channels. Earth's leadership offered no statements. The only data received were movement logs, fleet formations entering contested sectors, skimming the edges of Council territory, executing maneuvers designed for maximum visibility and minimum dialogue. They weren't hiding. They wanted to be seen. The Council assembled an emergency session. Proposals ranged from open war to mass evacuation. Fears spread faster than action. Half the member species hadn't seen combat in centuries. Others had only heard of Earth's past conflicts in outdated intelligence briefings. One admiral, overseeing a border sector near human space, attempted to intercept a small formation of Earth's ships. His fleet never fired. Earth's response was unrecorded. All Council systems registered was a sudden black zone, total signal loss, across a 20 light-minute radius. When sensors came back online, the Admiral's command ship was gone. The rest of his fleet powered down without instruction. Earth still had not made a single demand. They offered no negotiations. They submitted no ultimatums. This was not coercion. It was demonstration. Each targeted strike followed a pattern: military installations, classified research centers, weapons caches. No civilian centers were touched. Not a single population hub was approached. Earth's fleet could have leveled colonies. They didn't. The message was clearer than any declaration: this was discipline, not chaos. All attempts to predict Earth's next move failed. Their fleet formations defied standard doctrine. AI cores adapted mid-engagement. War minds displayed learning speeds that violated known limits. Human command structures were fragmented by design, resistant to infiltration, and impossible to anticipate. The Council's most secure data banks were breached silently. Their encryption protocols, designed by 3 separate species over 2 centuries, were penetrated in seconds. Earth didn't take data. They deleted entire archives, then left single lines of code behind: remembrance. Former Council allies withdrew support. Border systems declared neutrality. Independent planets offered Earth conditional alignment. Not out of loyalty, but calculation. They understood something the Council had forgotten: Earth never acted without warning. This war had not been provoked. It had been permitted. In 48 hours, 37 strategic sites were eliminated. Loss of life, 0. Material cost, irreparable. Psychological impact, irreversible. Then Earth paused. Not to retreat. Not to reconsider. But to give space, for understanding, not surrender. And still, no message came. Because Earth had already spoken. Not in words, not in threats. But in deliberate, measured, unstoppable movement. It wasn't retaliation. It was correction. By the end of the 3rd week, the war was over. Not because Earth declared victory, but because no one remained willing to fight. Council forces had withdrawn from 12 sectors, abandoning assets without contest. Entire fleets rerouted themselves away from human paths. Surrender wasn't negotiated, it was assumed. What shook the galaxy wasn't the scale of destruction. It was the restraint. Earth had the power to devastate entire planets, but it hadn't. No cities were erased. No species targeted. Each strike had purpose, direction, precision. There were no demands for territory, no installation of puppet regimes, no annexations. Humanity didn't want control. It wanted acknowledgement. The Council convened again, but not as rulers. They gathered in fragments, their coalition cracked, their authority dissolved. Member states that once echoed the Council's rhetoric now issued public apologies to Earth, without waiting for approval. Their people demanded it. The fear of humanity was not rooted in brutality. It was grounded in their clarity. There was no ambiguity in what they stood for. When Earth finally responded to the galaxy's requests, the message was minimal. No theatrics. A single packet of legal documentation titled Protections for Non-Combatant Sapients. It was a treaty proposal. A law. One clause, 10 lines of text, universal in scope. No sapient under the age of majority shall be harmed, detained, or targeted under any security protocol, regardless of species or planetary jurisdiction. It passed in 40 hours. Not a single vote opposed it. They named it Amara's Accord. Earth declined a permanent seat in the restructured council. They refused leadership roles, funding privileges, and defense oversight. They did not seek to dominate. They wanted the galaxy to remember. Not just the girl who died, but the silence that followed. The arrogance that dismissed her. The order that allowed it. And so, the accord became more than law. It became history's dividing line, before Amara, and after. Education systems across dozens of species incorporated new protocols. Security drones were reprogrammed. Autonomous units dismantled. Councils restructured their ethics commissions. On hundreds of worlds, statues and markers were placed, each one inscribed with her name. Not Earth's flag. Not a political slogan. Just a child's name, and a date. Humanity returned home. The fleet entered Sol in perfect formation. No celebration. No fanfare. They returned to silence, not exhaustion. The AI war mines were deactivated, not erased. Their cores stored, not discarded. Earth made no promises of future peace. It made one statement: if the line is crossed again, there will be no second warning. Trade resumed. Diplomatic ties reformed. But the galaxy no longer looked at Earth as unpredictable or aggressive. It saw them as patient, deliberate, and intolerant of injustice. Every ambassador knew the unspoken truth: Earth had given the galaxy one opportunity to correct itself. And it had done so only after every other option was exhausted. Quiet reverence followed. Alien children learned Amara's name alongside their own species' heroes. Her story became required reading in diplomatic academies. Officers studied Earth's restraint in war colleges. The phrase, "Do not provoke the humans," was no longer a joke. It was protocol. No one could calculate the cost of Earth's choice. Not in credits, not in ships, not in fear. The real cost was existential, the understanding that under Earth's compassion lay a capability that no species wanted to see tested again. In the center of a quiet garden on Earth, a statue stood. Not grand. Not imposing. A bronze figure of a girl standing barefoot, holding a flower. She was not made to look victorious. Just real. Alive. Known. Above her, in geostationary orbit, a single ship remained powered. Not as a threat. As a reminder.